Hello and thanks for watching Best Maths Tutors. I'm continuing to go through the Edexcel Higher Tier paper from 2019. This is paper 3 and we're on question 2. And if you'd like to see any of the other questions, just click the subscribe button and you'll be able to see all the other questions which we covered. So here we've got a question which involves a circle with a tangent. And what we've got to do is we've got to find the coordinates of a point on this circle. We've got to find the value of P, and we can see that P is a point here on the circumference of this circle, and the coordinates are that X is equal to 3P and that Y is equal to P. So they're our X and Y coordinates there. So in order to do this, we need to know a couple of facts and formulas, and one of them is the equation of a circle. The equation of a circle going through a point is given as x minus a all squared plus y minus b all squared is equal to r squared, and that's for a circle of radius r with a centre that would be a b. Now in our case, what we've got is our AB, the coordinates of the centre of the circle, is actually 0, 0. So this equation will simplify to being x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So that's the equation for this circle. And what we need to do is really we need to find the radius of this circle in order to be able to find the coordinate of P here. And so in order to do that, we're going to look at this tangent to the circle. And we need to know another fact, which is that if we have a tangent to a circle, then if I was to draw a line from the centre of the circle to the tangent, the point where it touches is actually a right angle. And that helps us greatly because we can then use trigonometry in order to work out this radius here. So this is the radius of the circle. And we can see, I'm just going to draw it again up here, this right angle triangle that we've got, which is formed by O, A, and the point B. There's our right angle, and this is our 30 degrees. What we can see is we do know something about this triangle. We know that the hypotenuse of it, this distance from O to B, is actually 16 because the coordinate here, the x coordinate, is 16, and so we've got a line going from 0 to the point of x equals 16, and the length is 16. So this length here is 16, and what we're looking for is this radius r. So if we think about SOHCAHTOA, so SOHCAHTOA, then we know that O stands for the opposite, H stands for the hypotenuse. So compared to the angle that we've been given, we know that the radius there is the opposite, and we know we've got the hypotenuse there. So that tells me that we're going to be using sine, so the S stands for sine. And what we've got is an equation from that sine 30 is equal to the opposite, which is the radius, over the hypotenuse, which is 16. And if I rearrange that, then what I'll get is that the radius, if I multiply both sides of this equation by 16, is equal to 16 times sine 30. And you may know that sine 30 is a half, or you could just use a calculator since this is a calculator question. If we know that sine 30 is a half, then half times 16 is 8, and that will give me the radius is 8. I'm just going to show you on here anyway how we would find this. So we need to just use 16. This is a standard calculator, by the way, that you often would use at GCSE, the Casio class widths. So this is an emulator I'm using for the computer. So we go 16 times, and then it's sine 30, because that's the angle. Close the bracket. And if I press equals, then what I get is 8. So that's my radius there, 8. So that's really the first part, or first stage in answering this question. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into this equation here, which is the equation of a circle. Let's create a circle equation. Equation of a circle which goes through the origin. And what I can do is I can replace r by 8. So the first stage is I've got x squared plus y squared is actually equal to 8 squared, which is 64. So if you square 8 times 8 is 64. And then what I can also do to find the value of p is I can say, well, since for this point on the circle, we know that x is equal to 3p, and we also know that y is equal to p. So we can replace the x here, this x, by the 3p, and we can replace the y by p. So if we do that, we've got 3p, I've got to be careful to square the whole of 3p, rather than just 3p squared. It's actually the 3 is squared as well, which is why I put that in a bracket. And it's plus the y value, which is p, so p squared equals 64. So this is an equation which will allow me to work out the value of p. So if I square this, the first bracket here, so if I square that, and then we get 3 squared is 9, and then it's p squared. So I'll square each part of this within the side of the bracket. So then I've got to add that one to p squared. That equals 64 still. So if I add them together, I've got 9p squared plus p squared is actually 10p squared. That equals 64. If I divide both sides now, because I've got 10 times p squared equals 64. So to get rid of the 10 there, I can just divide both sides by 10. Do that there and do that there. Just an arrow here, so because we run out of space at the bottom. That gives me that p squared is equal to 64 divided by 10. We could use a calculator. If I divide by 10, I'm just going to move the decimal point one place to the left. That's going to give me 6.4. And all I need to do then is get rid of this square sign here. So the 2 by the p. And to do that, I'm just going to square root both sides. So if I square root both sides, then what will happen is the square will cancel on the p and just give me p there. So p is equal to the square root of 64. So I'm just going to get the calculator up to work that out. And bearing in mind, I've got to do it to 1 decimal place as well. It says in the question 1 decimal place there. So get that across here. Clear what I've got in the calculator already, and I'm going to go square root of 6.4 equals. So we've got it expressed in this form, which is called, it's in surd form really, and that means by the square root it's a surd, and that's accurate. That's exact, as we could say. But if we press the SD button, we'll get it as the same value but in a decimal. So there we go. We've got 2.529, etc. And we've got to give the answer to 1 decimal place. So I'll just write that down first. So 2.5298, the calculator is going to disappear as soon as I start writing. I've not found a way of getting it to float on top yet. So 2.5298 equals 2.5298. And what I need to do is write this to 1 decimal place. So that means cutting it off. There's my first decimal place, which is 5. Cutting it off there. What I've got to do is I've got to look at the decimal place after that. Because it's only 2, so because it's less than 5, it means I'm going to keep this value, the value of 5, as it is. If this 2 If it had been a bigger number, been 5 or more, I would have added 1 to the 5 and it would have become 2.6. But as it is, with it being only 2 there, then to 1 decimal place, this is 2.6. And we finished it. So that's it. So I hope that's been helpful to you. If it has, please like our video and subscribe to our channel, which is Best Maths Tutors. And you can do that by clicking the button at the bottom. And also, for more help, visit our website, which is bestmathstutors.co.uk. Thanks for watching.